All right, guys, welcome back from a small break, and hopefully got your cups of coffee. I know for me, it's definitely cozy. I have some people in chat being like, "Oh, this is the music that I sleep to," and I'm like, you know what? You're absolutely right. But at the same time, too, that like, I have my cup of coffee and I have my Christmas candle. I have my Christmas candle with me, so it's like not only is it Christmas time, but also a nice warm cup of coffee without it being so cold. Is it really cold for you?
Well, it's right now. I think we're almost into the negatives, at least Celsius-wise. I think it'd be around 5 degrees Celsius.
It's kind of a nice little coziness though, right? Because it's like you're inside and you're warm and you're looking outside, being like, haha, it's too cold for me to go do anything, so I'm just gonna stay in here. But you can at least go outside for a little while to breathe in the cold air, right?
I mean, yeah, but I mean, like, being Canadian too, and having to, like, having the, being here all my life, it's kind of normal. I could be like in a t-shirt and be completely fine.
Mm-hmm.
And crazy weather, so.
But regardless, here, welcome back to VRCDJ Live, and we're here live on remote at VKet, and fun time though, because like we're here, we're hanging out, and we got some people that are here checking out the booths, and they're also interested in some of the stuff that we do here, and of course, in proper VRCDJ Live fashion, we do talk about DJ stuff, but also because we're at VKet, we're gonna be talking about VKet stuff, and what a better opportunity to be talking with VKet stuff with Midnights and Valhalla here joining us on the program. So thank you for stopping by and kind of sharing your wisdom and your experience and all sorts of stuff. Talk to us a little bit about
thank you for having me.
About VKet so far. Obviously it's been going on for at least about a week.
Yeah, I actually started doing some collabs with some streamers, especially some collab streamers. I was on with Skull's Nightshade, and then I had also DBQT as well that I did with another VKet Ambassador too. And I've been going like through like the past almost a whole weekend prior, and my feet were killing me. I was enjoying it though. This is the first time I've actually been able to fully do these kind of things as an ambassador, because the previous season or in the summer I wasn't really able to do much because I was just moving to a new house. So I couldn't have done as much as I have done since this VKet.
I'm also really excited. I mean, I'm not excited for the fact that your feet are killing you, but at the same time, I'm excited too because I was streaming on Tuesday with VRChat, who's also a collaborative streamer, and I was standing up a lot.
Yeah,
and it's been a very, very, very long time since I've done any sort of VRChat streaming, fully standing up for like 5 hours, 6 hours, and I'm just like, I slept good that night.
Well, I mean, I used to work in retail for about 5-ish years, and I used to stand up all the time anyway. So it was like, it is what it is. But when you get older, then you can definitely start feeling it a little bit more. But it is what it is.
Yeah, no joke. And again, it's been such a thrill for the past even week. Let alone we still have like a week and a half left of VKet, of all the different things.
Yeah,
to check
and then we've
out.
got VKet Real right after.
Exactly. Are you?
That's true.
You're not planning on going out there, are you?
I am actually going to be one of the people that are going to be on the VKet walk. I'm not going to be in Japan, but I will actually be there for the VKet walk. So
yeah, we were just kind of
and TFM Johnny and
we were talking a little bit about that. Was there a complete process compared to what it was like last year? Did they kind of enhance it? What are we kind of looking forward to with that?
Not that I know per se. All I know is this is the first time I'm actually doing it because again I was moving to a new place, so I had no real mental preparedness for it. All I know is that like most of the time, you can, depending on what kind of program or software you're using, like Warudo or of course VRChat, which I'll be using. It seems fun. That's all I can say. I'm actually looking forward to checking it out. It's like being there, except you're not. It's kind of it's strange because they're holding. Think of it as like Connor hold or Sea Dog VA for people who don't know Connor, and then you being Iron Mouse being in the little bike and then just driving around because you're on the screen. So you're seeing everyone through the eyes of the person holding you while you're going around.
I was gonna say, is there a webcam or something that you can actually see what's going on too?
Yeah. So you'll have like a Discord call, and you'll have it gonna make it so that they'll have it linked up, and then pretty much it's just walking around, talking to people, saying hello, meeting people around. I mean, I'm honestly nervous because I've never done it, but I'm also excited. I'm like anxious nervous. Inks nervous. It's something
There's
along
got to
those
be a
lines.
word for it. Yeah.
Um, I'm happy to be able to do it. Um, I wasn't gonna in the first place because it's not my kind of thing, but I thought, you know what, I had someone, actually funny enough, Ayumi, she really wanted me to go and do it, so I decided to kind of go through it with it, and yeah, so
I kind of feel
it's gonna
like
be fun.
she has a sort of a presence when it comes to trying to figure out and find the people that want to help announce VKet and stuff, because I actually got to speak to her at TwitchCon this past year, and her and Lun and some of the other people within the
Hmm.
community did come to Dead Man's Party, which is a program that I run every year. And
Yeah.
it was just so interesting because especially for me and my numbers and I guess meme notoriety or something, to be able to know these people that have such a strong following, and then they're just like, we're friends now, and I'm like, what? You know, like, okay, like we're hanging out, we're talking about this
Yeah,
sort
you
of
wouldn't
stuff.
expect it. It kind of like it's like sidelines you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I also think, especially now, and I know we were kind of talking a little bit about the Gamer Awards recently, and we were also talking about,
Yeah, I'm
you
good
know,
with.
with the Streamer Awards and stuff like that. It's so interesting to me because it's like I wish that there was an opportunity to showcase some either smaller talent or not so noticed talent. But when it comes to that,
Mm.
you know, I'm sure people will be pulling their hair out, especially with all the submissions being like
Oh yeah,
of course we want
overwhelming.
to go ahead and promote the people that want to be promoted, but when you have a whole inbox of that, it's just like so hard to try to figure out who you want to kind of show some light to.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm further interested, as well as my community is also further interested, and I know one of the things that was really big was the just the popularity of your bar. You know, just the fact that like your bar literally just rocketed into this popularity status, and I want you to kind of break it down for us a little bit about that whole process for you, and having the success of your bar, and as well as you know, success of your streams and stuff.
Mm. Oh, well, I mean, well, strap in. I'll tell you a little bit about how everything kind of came to be, what it is now. So about a couple of years ago, J Melt, who is the creator of the bar, he's been a friend of mine for a very long time, and I was looking for someone to recreate the bar, like the game that's based off of, which is Cyberpunk Bartender Action Valhalla, which has been around since 2016. I really kind of was surprised to see that there was worlds based off of it, like they already existed. There was full 3D ones, and then there was like a flat, like very claustrophobic one. And I was thinking, man, if only we can like mix these two together. The game's been out for so long, and we barely see a lot of it. So I'm like, okay, I need a place to stream because I don't want to keep using the one I was using, which is by a person named Steins, which is again, the Cyberpunk Bartender Action of a Hollow World. And I also wanted to have that game in VR with the exact, elements of how the game is. You drag the ingredients and you can put as much carmetrine, which is the alcohol, and have all the effects that you can do just like in the game in some way. And the fact that I was just getting sick and tired of clubs all the time and seeing so many club worlds, I was like, I just want a sport bar in this small place where there's no private rooms, no like dancing poles, just straight up. You come in, you sit down, you have a talk with the bartender, and maybe you'll actually have someone talking next to someone. And the philosophy was more kind of like, Cheers, if you remember the TV show Cheers, right?
Sure.
Everyone knows your name kind of thing, right? And after, talking with Jay about it, because originally I was asking him the prices, and he gave it to me, and then about a year after, he came back and said if I'm still interested. And luckily enough, my streams were doing really well. I was making like over $1,000 on streaming, so I was like, okay. Not always. Like there'll be times where I'm only making like 600, or sometimes I'll make 2,000 plus, depending on how things are. So very volatile. But at that moment, I was able to take some of that money plus a little bit of my own, because I wanted to accelerate the release of it. And so it happened, and after that, we kind of didn't realize what we did. you know, originally I had a previous bar that I had. It was a friend of mine. His name is Wiggly Piggly. He also does 3D building. And he was going through a lot, and I wanted to give him a break, so I asked Jay. And now he's back. He's going to be working with me with another world in the future, one based on like a train where you can like customize your own train cars.
Oh,
One can be a
cool.
DJ one can be like a thing, and then the other one is basically based off of a Canadian restaurant called Jack Astor's. And it's what we used for the Game Awards last night. But yeah, honestly, we never expected to explode the way that we did. I think we're like 7.6 million visits now in
That's
that bar.
incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we were blown away. It's JML's biggest world that he's ever done because previously he's actually worked on some really good, like amazing ones where you're using either the first person camera or maybe you're using like perspectives. He's really well known for his way of doing Easter eggs too. And with his skills and that type of element of the drinking system within that bar, I knew for a reason why I did it with him because he's also a passionate gamer. And my philosophy too is to have people that if I work with have the fun, have fun doing it. Because to be honest with you, if a person's not having fun doing it and they're just doing it for a paycheck, then it feels soulless. It's like an empty shell of what you're trying to build. So the passion that he had, and when I told him about it, he was actually originally going to be playing the game, and when he did, he said it was one of his top favorite games. So it actually you see apply to the world itself, which again I'm very proud of how we've been able to grow it as it is now.
I know one of the fun things about your bar that a lot of people really enjoy, including myself and some of the friends that I've literally told them, I'm just like,
Mm.
oh, this bar. And they're like, I know that bar. Is obviously the drink system. The drink system is very unique
Hmm.
because back in a time where there were a few worlds where you would click on like a potion and then the potion would kind of like mess up your judgment a bit.
Yeah.
There were some people who were
Hmm.
like, oh man, that's really fun. And then they dare their friends to do it. But then some of their friends are just like, they've got that
Russian
sensory
roulette
thing.
kind of thing.
Yeah, they got that sensory thing where they're just like,
Hmm.
no, I'm ruining myself, kind of a thing. But and it's interesting
Yeah.
how that process happened, and then it kind of moved on just because of all the different things that had happened with it. But I'm more
Right.
curious of the fact because I would assume that the people that do come to the bar, they love to get those
Mm.
experiences. They love to, have a really weird sensation of either getting
Like
drunk or getting impaired, slightly impaired, not,
or getting high or
positively
crossfaded like a
impaired. Yeah.
pseudo.
Um,
Yeah, yeah,
what
yeah.
was are those drink recipes like for real? Is that something that was included with the game and the process of building the bar?
Great question. So originally, the first page of drinks was actually by a group of people that we found. Me and Dream. Dream was one of the people that actually worked on some of the models. Actually, I can give an example right for you because it's on my person right now. Oh, I've got this,
Hey,
and bump.
a
There you go. I'll put that
banana
right there.
daiquiri.
This is a banana old fashioned. So this model was actually done by iDream Theater. The first page and the Valhalla drinks were also done by him, and that's when it started really. After that, there was community drinks, which was JMelt's side of things, and then there's like over 100 plus now that you see there. But yeah, Dream built that with us, and actually, it helped bring the price down because it wasn't cheap. Like in total, with the bar and the Valhalla drinks, it came to around I believe it was like $1,750 to have that whole world done.
Mm.
Which was again totally well worth the investment. It's definitely helped me, especially when I go live. It actually casts the my stream on there and it does some amazing things. It adds one viewer for every person that's watching this the stream, even if they're not someone who signed up with Twitch, but people that want to see me live is a great balance between the two.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's originally the whole system was actually a big like problem for Jay because that was his challenge. That was 70% of the challenge of that bar was that system alone. But we didn't make it. It was technically speaking, it was from the game, right? The game already had the elements. He just put it into a 3D space with, of course, using Unity and stuff like that that he is amazing with because me, I used to do avatar stuff, but I still I'm really pea brain when it comes to it. But it's just amazing what he's able to create and how he was able to do it to a point where a lot of people wanted to buy the system. But we have that again philosophy where if you were to sell that, then what made the Midnight Bar special is now gone. It's now spread out. So
Right.
what has happened instead is that it's actually given other people the ability to come up with their own versions of that, and now there's spans like Sunrise Bars and many others, which we love to see. We love that competition and stuff like that. I know the Sunrise Bar gets a lot of love too, and we're pretty much like, you know, where we are. But to be honest with you, we're really happy that people really enjoy the fact that they can have the effects go off. And there's some drinks that do have like special effects, like the 88 one that I had done. That one actually has the sound from the beginning of the third movie of Back to the Future.
Mm.
So there was that. But yeah, no, the first page of drinks was actually by some people like Taz Brazier, or Metal Brazier, Taz Momente, and Reichsite. Those guys had that for a Discord a very long time ago. And really, I'm not that really creative with drinks, but when I saw them on Twitter, which by the way was like 2017, it was buried in, and I just searched Valhalla drinks and something random, and that popped up, and me and Dream talked to them and asked if it was okay, and they're like, yeah, sure. And so yeah, the
Sweet.
first page was on their drinks, and it kind of worked out, and they were so happy about that because they never thought they would ever even get to the point where the bar is and where those drinks come from, right? So it's quite amazing, and I'm happy to be able to do that.
It's great within the bar too, especially because one of the things that VRChat does that's really quirky, in my opinion, is allows you a different dimension, if a fourth dimension, if you will, besides the third dimension of it all, to explore. You know, things that you grew up with, things that you've enjoyed, the games that you've enjoyed, and just put another layer of flavor to your experiences with that. I know for me, I'm a big Sonic the Hedgehog guy. Obviously, when we were doing the meetup
Same.
in the bar,
Yeah.
we were doing about Sonic the Hedgehog, and then you have a bunch of people in VRChat that, you know, make these worlds as if you could be Sonic the Hedgehog. It's a kind of a weird dream about it, but at the same time, you know, that's so cool to be able to explore that. Do you ever find that people come to the bar not only just because of the RP aspect? Do you find that some people are genuinely interested in becoming a bartender somewhere down the road?
Well, funny you mentioned that. There's been a lot of people that came to the bar because they saw Jill's face, which is the main character of the game. A lot of Valhalla fans saw it and they were interested, and a lot of them actually spanned from that. But yeah, we've had quite a few people talk to me when I'll pop in the bar from time to time. I'll try and like sneak around. And nowadays, it's not as easy to be inconspicuous, you know. But it's still fun to get people to tell me about, you know, their experiences, saying this world has given me so much, removed the anxiety they've had of talking to other people, and has made them go to bartending, which by the way is night and day. Like the stuff that you do in my bar is nothing in comparison to actually like mixology and actually doing the real thing in real life. Because my mom was a bartender for about 35-40 years, and she was actually a big inspiration of the, you know, something about the socialness of the bar, you know. I'm not even like, I'm not a real life bartender myself. I don't drink much alcohol, if I not at all, because I have a medical condition, which thinning of blood is not a good thing. But the reason of it is because I really just like the scene. You know, I really like the energy and the mood that it brings, that really called to me when I started doing this 3 years ago, at least as a streamer.
It's cool too because you know, from going back in the day, you go to the Pug, you go to the Black Cat, they got a bar there and it's cool. And they got the music, and it's kind of one of those bars that's like really open. I mean, the Pug not so much; you just kind of walk in and you're there. But especially with the Black Cat, and it's so refreshing to see that people come to the bar and get that type of experience, compared to the fact that we've had other bars in VRChat, but it just never held a candle to the fact of how immersive you decide to put into the stylings. And not even alone to the fact that you were saying that you don't plan on being a bartender. You said your mom was a bartender, But at the same
Hmm.
time too, like even thinking about that and knowing that people can come in and kind of I don't want to say it's spaghetti western style that people just come up to the saloon and be like, I had a
Oh
terrible
yeah,
day, get pour me a shot. Like honestly, you could be
yeah, Arthur
whatever
Morgan, right?
emotional level you can be in VRChat, but having that avenue is fantastic. But one of the absolute things
Hmm.
that we keep forgetting about with bartenders is I can only imagine like just like as if you had to go to school to learn how to mix, like a mixologist, you also have to do a minor in like mental therapy. Like there's got to be a point when you're up there
Yeah.
and you have to kind of help out your customers, not only as a way to get some sort of income or have a way to buy the drinks, but
Hmm.
you also need to kind
Hmm.
of be aware that alcohol is kind of an addictive substance, and you
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
control their limit, and you also kind of have to be there, therapeutically, I suppose.
Yeah, and it's very hard to do that in VR because when in VR, people can just egg you on to keep drinking, or there was actually an interview that my friend did. He actually was an interview with Fia about alcohol in VR as a whole and how people have either ruined their lives because of how bad it was and how much, because when you're at the comfort of your home, you don't have to worry about a bartender, telling you that cutting you off or anything like that. You have every choice to cut yourself off. And the fact of is, like with me, of course, I can't do that. But I always try and tell people is have fun, but just be responsible and know what you can do because the next day, depending on now, I mean, you know yourself more than anyone, just like I do, right? But one thing as a bartender and knowing how my mom has always been, we're caregivers. And we want to make sure that they're still having a good experience, but not like, ruining themselves to a point where they're throwing up and having the worst hangover and going into bed and feeling like absolute ass. Like, well, I say, get some water, have something to eat with it, all these things that are very important when drinking alcohol when you're having a good time. Because again, you want to be responsible with it. But yeah.
Do you constantly find that the people that come in from your community, they do learn about bar etiquette, or even like maybe they are interested in, like, let's just say they want to
Maybe.
go to a bar for the first time, but obviously,
Yeah.
like we were saying, coming into VR chat to experience that is like, especially with the DJ community
Mm,
too, we got a lot of newcomers, and honestly too, even this past year, I've had somebody come to my show on a Saturday night, and
yeah.
apparently they've been in the scene for 2 years, but now they're starting to branch out and get to know all the different genres and underground clubs, and seeing even Europeans. Europeans has a whole different style of friendship and camaraderie that some of the Westerners really have something different going on. So learning all about that, but even the fact of them coming in here for 2 years and learning that, and then being comfortable enough to explore that process.
Mm, right.
Do you find that more people come in with that mindset compared to something else? Maybe like a popularity thing, and people being like, "Oh, I remember you from someplace."
Like to be honest with you, when it comes to when it comes to bars, and anything, it's usually like I said before, like Cheers, right? Everyone's there. You gather people from all walks of life. It's a gathering. It's also kind of the same kind of idea of going to like VR. Remember the old hubs that people would usually go into and flock into way back in the day, and then it kind of moved into more of like the Great Pug and the Black Cat, and and it's just the more the socializing the social gatherings that these worlds bring. Is very fascinating to me because as someone who really didn't get into VR much and even VR chat as much until way later in because I started in 2016, late 2016 into 2017. Um, it was just cool hearing people from other languages and some people that would go to because I mean like when you go to different worlds they have different regions and so sometimes I'll see like Japanese folk come by and and to me I'm just like whoa, this is fascinating to me, or like you said European and meeting people. It's just a fascinating thing to me. And so I just think this bar or any kind of bars where it's just spanned out more to other places is great though, because I want people to go out and see new things. That's the whole thing about VRChat. That's a great tool to explore the places that you would never think possible, especially for people like me who are disabled or people that can't afford to really go pay $2,000 to go to like Oktoberfest in Germany, or or go to Japan and see all the sights. The fact that you're able to get at least something from VR itself, for a fraction of what you would pay usually, depending on, of course, hardware and stuff like that. But with nowadays, with like the Quest and how cheap it is to afford that and get yourself already into like dipping your feet in, it's very easy more now than anything to experience it more. It's a great tool.
I think it's very nice that we have this kind of a transitional talk piece about VKet, the fact that we're sitting in VKet, the fact that we're getting to experience everything that's going on here, and also the fact that VKet has been running so frequently and so often, and being able to connect all of that. Like, what is your view on the fact of the timeline of how VKet even started compared to where it is, the mass size of VKet that we have right now?
Well, I remember like when I started in 2021, I had someone pop in my, not in the midnight bar, but the one Valhalla World I was in during that time. Her name was Little Yui. She used to work with VKet. She did a lot of tours as VKet Jen, and she invited me to do it. And I really didn't know anything really about VKet other than the fact that maybe a couple worlds that I kind of stumbled onto with some friends because they were already there. And I did know that it's been almost like, I think like 8 years now or something, which is crazy to think how long VKet has been going on, and like you said, how big it's become. It's fascinating because it's for creators by creators, right? You're able to get your what you do as an artist, maybe like a DJ, or maybe you're selling like actual products in real life, and be able to do it in a virtual space is so amazing. And it's something that I encourage to people because I want people to be successful. I want people to be happy, to know that these things do exist. They are there. And sometimes I realize how shocking it is that some people still don't know what VKit is. Like, I have talked to some of my friends, and they would be like, "No, I don't know what VKit is," but they know my bar, and they don't even know how many visits some of these worlds get. Like, all combined total is about like maybe 15, 20 times the amount of how much we currently have with my bar, right? So it baffles me, but we're getting more and more advertisement as we go by. I mean, it's a big thing in Japan. We're really trying to branch here more with the West side, because we want to be as excited as the JP side of things. We want to prove to everyone from that part of the side of the world that we also want that too. We want to have all the cool things with like the Mazda contest thing where you can, in Vegas or Pure Real Vegas, you can decorate your car, and it's a Mazda Roadster, which is really really cool. And then you take a picture and you use a hashtag Mazda VKet, and then you could win a prize, but it's only on the JP side of things. But if we still do it in the West and still say, hey, we still want to do it, then it's possible Mazda could consider doing something as well for the West side, potentially like in the future.
Mm. It is kind of interesting too, especially because after the past couple of years, I know one of the years, I think it was in VKet 4 or VKet somewhere between like 4 or 5, when they even got to introduce the Disney company into here. That started to really blow my mind over the fact that like someone, so I don't want to say prestigious, but like someone that has such a big name to it will be able to think outside the box, outside of the fact of us. And I hate to bring this up because now I'm remembering it, that Disney bought Fortnite. I have to try to remind myself that exists.
Ah, yes, the Disneyverse.
But just even that too, like getting their shot to come in here and we get to hobnob with like some really cool Disney executives is kind of a very interesting, fascinating thing. And it also kind of makes me think a lot about the future and like what we have to look forward to with another year of VRChat, especially how large VKet is growing with the populace. And even just the fact that there's going to be another real convention where you could legit go to the real, like I'm so jealous that I can't go and hug the actual VKet Chan. You know, like she's there.
I would love. I'm still hoping to get like a plushie of her too. Like I've been answering like Shadow and Lun. It's like, where's the VKet Chan plushie? Because at least in some way I'm able to hold VKet Chan as because I love her. I love her model. I think it's a great one. I've even egged the guys to get that adult version from Sunatori. That's a alcohol based company. And they have an adult version of VKet-chan that you see when you toast with her and stuff. And I'm like, why can't we have this model and stuff like that? Maybe down the road, but we're slowly seeing some new ones, different variants of her. And I do agree, you know, it's amazing that people can actually go to the real life one. And maybe just like the whole thing that we want to try and do with like the Mazda contest is get a VKet Real in the West. That's our dream to do. I mean, mostly Lun is a big like we are actually pretty close by. We both live in Canada. We're both in the same province, and we both agree that we'd love to see a VKet Real here. That would be so cool. And that's why we try and push people more into these events and more of these venues to get Hickey to consider getting the, you know, paying the money to have it come here. Because in that way it could make me be able to go because I can't fly to some of the places like Japan. The farthest I've ever gone was to England. That was because of family and just my mom because she was born in Ireland.
Some of these conversations are also really interesting on my behalf as well, just because of the fact that, like, I know previously on VRCDJLIVE, we would talk about the difference between hobbyist and professional, with an option for a lot of our DJ friends to try to make some money in VRChat. It's a little different because a lot of the IRL events, well, not IRL events, but the VR events of the DJs and the clubs here, it's just all based on exposure. You're getting paid in exposure. A lot of the clubs are obviously not getting any pay for it, so everyone's just doing it as a passion project. But there are some members of the DJ community that go one step higher to even have real IRL VRChat events at a venue. They sell tickets and have the VR DJs involved, and they perform and they'll stream it, or in this particular case, I think a lot of people know of ShelterCon and how Shelter goes out and they do these really big events. For me, Dead Man's Party at TwitchCon. For the Europeans, they have Costa del Fishbowl, which is a big event. Four Seasons has a big event. And having that, but also it's also fascinating, again, for me, who DJs at anime conventions, for me to explain to people of what we got going on in VR recently. It kind of blows their mind a little bit because they're always just so focused in on like the anime culture or instant Japanese popularity things, obviously. Like you'll have people going to anime conventions and Komodos and stuff, and it's just like, and just being a part of all of that is so interesting. But even the fact if we were to have our own virtual market reel here, either on the West Coast in Canada, somewhere in the United States and stuff like that, it would be fascinating because while we're constantly a part of it and we're constantly a part of just virtual attention that we can understand to go to it, it would be a really quirky, short breath way of saying anime convention. You know, like anime, come here to see some anime or Japanese influence. And I think that alone would be able to draw in a much larger crowd
especially with VRChat.
Yeah, with VRChat, the fact that you can get into VRChat for free on desktop, you don't need a headset.
Yeah,
and then
don't need a VR headset. Yeah, huge.
Past couple of years, people are even springing on the Quest 2, the Quest 3. Still going to be a very popular product for the holidays. Yeah. So it's so interesting to me because of the fact that, like, you know, for someone like myself who's had plenty of years of experience in radio, working behind a board, working in an office, to the point where we have our virtual time, we have our virtual space, but there's so many
Right.
amazing business connections that we can continue to lead on into moving forward.
Right.
It's not a matter of me playing as a virtual tuber, the VTubers people would probably be
Yeah.
calling VRChat people, but I have personally been able to say that I work in pop culture. Like that together we can collaborate in a space like VKet, and it's not even just a matter of it being Japanese influence, and it doesn't even have to be anything to do with 3D modeling, but because we're constantly in the forefront of pop culture, whether it is Japanese pop
Right.
culture or you could say J-pop if you will, but just the fact that we're breaking grounds because this is what we're doing right now, and this is where we're moving mountains and doing all that sort of stuff. So I kind of want
Try
to
saying that to your family, right?
yeah, and we were just explaining that recently how like my uncle, I keep going back to this because all I remember is just having this stupid conversation with my uncle. My uncle he's a carpenter and he builds houses.
Yeah.
And that's where his
cool.
business is. He just builds houses. So for him to talk to me, he's like, wow, how come my nephew is there and he's playing with anime girls on the internet and he's playing video games and it's just internet and that's not real and blah blah blah. He has to work with his real hands. He's got to touch grass and stuff like that. I'm just
playing as Nintendo.
yeah, he's just constantly going to the Nintendo. It's so fascinating, and it's stuff that we constantly have to check ourselves on. Like the fact that you live far away, I live far away, but together we get to sit here in virtual space, moving in real time, like getting to be able to talk to each other while also being influenced by Japanese culture, in which, again, from a guy who lives in Central Florida, the immediate conversation I had with my mother was, I got to learn Japanese. I don't know too many people that live in Central Florida that speak Japanese. Like that's kind of a flawed concept, but at the same, like unless you have some people from Japan flying to like Disney, and then I can like hang out with.
Or you have like one of those Google pieces that help you like translate.
And those are pretty cool too. So just the fact that all of that is kind of working out for us in virtual reality is just taking this whole process another step forward.
Right. Yep. And just thinking about it is like how technology has like grown at an exponential rate. I'm just mentioning about Nintendo is like when I was like, I won't be around the bush. I was born in '87, so that'd be 37. I was into, I got my first system, was the NES, and it was fascinating to me as a kid because I never knew what games were other than going to the playground and had my my Pokemon cards and not trying to toot my own horn when I was a kid, but I was one of the kids on the block that other kids would try and trade with me because I had the most cards out of anyone. And it was actually from a wonderful kid that I used to know. He had a medical condition, and the Starlight Children's Foundation helped me meet them because we went to Walt Disney World, and we had a military buddy with us. We had the U.S. Army paired up with a kid and them, which was the coolest thing. And I met his name was I think it was like Robert. Funny enough, because I have another friend named Robert Nees in the Hatsune Miku. And him and I used to chat for a long time. We would go to events. They would take us to WWF events back in the day when it was called WWF and not WWE as it is now. Before, unfortunately, he didn't have much life left. He was dying at a young age, and he gave me his card just to kind of like pass that kind of that I'm still there with them and all that kind of stuff, which was very sweet. And I would always just make sure the few cards that reminded me of him I stayed in my binder. But one thing I will say though, when it comes to VR, is that like Uncle, right? He could technically like show off what his work is in a booth at Virtual Market if he really wanted to, and have his carpentry, his prices, like a 3D diagram of what he's built, like things that would actually expand his business more to just the local area. Of course, I mean, that's usually what it is, but you never know because maybe those people live close by, and that gives them a way of kind of like a business card, a virtual reality business card. It's just branching yourself. That's why I love about VRChat so much, is that it can get you into so many connections. Like you said, I've met people from Sega, Warner Brothers. I know some people that work in like that were mercenaries, worked in the Air Force, the U.S. Army, all because of this platform. And I've actually met some big like VTubers and famous people that knew people like Keanu Reeves, are good friends with them. Actually, true story. After the bar was made, about 2 or 3 weeks or months after, I actually became friends with the composer of the game, and I got to chat with him, which is a super nice guy. So again, it's fascinating to see how we have like how far we've gotten, and how many ventures you can get into without really having to, pay for, again, business cards or pay for a big billboard. These kind of events really sell it on in a fraction of the price, or if not free, which is, yeah, amazing.
Yeah, and you continue to bring it up too, especially especially for the VRC DJ Live community. I know I've been really stubborn at trying to understand YouTube and YouTube algorithms, and all I've ever known is Twitch. And while Twitch algorithms are good, and Twitch as a platform has really helped shape a lot of people's careers, just that alone, and it kills my mother sometimes, because I even tell her about it, and she's very supportive. She's a very supportive woman based on the stuff that I do. But I mentioned to her how people today in the dying job market that it is right now, legit make content, put it on YouTube, and just let it sit there. That sits there, and then at any point at time, at anywhere, all over the world, you can watch that video, and people can basically get revenue off of the content that you've put up there for many, many moons, that you can make a living based off of that. And for her to see that kind of blows her mind. But it's almost the same as what's going on here in VKet. You could pay for a space, or any convention really, where you could be at your booth. You be at your booth and you show off what you do, and anybody at any point in time around the world, much larger than any local convention, mind you, you could legit just kind of, put up a booth, and people stop by and ask questions. And I think for VRChat it's a little foreign, because of the fact of like walking into a public space is very few. It's very rare for you to walk into a public space and then people walk by and they're just like, oh, there's an actual show happening. There's actual people sitting here doing a thing.
I mean, it could be very intimidating, especially when you're going into public worlds. Most people, they'll usually wonder how can I make friends? And one of the things that we usually tell people is go to public worlds. I know you might not like it, but it is a great way to. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, right? Sometimes you'll get people that are really fantastic people, to the other side where like bunch of trolls, or it's just part of that experience of VRChat.
Yeah. Yeah, so we actually have an audience member with us. Hi. Hello. See, that's the best part of this, is we have an experience where we have some people stop by, and they get to explore, they get to experience what it's like to be on remote. And that's the fun part for me in radio, is that when it is time to go on remote, people are staring at us like that's something that they've never even fathomed or think about before. Especially in radio, because not everybody can just walk into a radio station and just be like, I got something to say, and then they just kind of raise all hell.
They're 2 cents.
But even in VR, it's kind of like, just that's the beauty of VKet, is that you can come in here, explore things that you may not be able to experience at any given time, at any point in time.
Without even having to spend like hundreds of thousands of dollars to try and keep an actual physical booth, because you have to have carpenters maybe, or have people that know how to build these booths specifically tailored to you, when you can hire someone for way less than that to make it, or even free with the VKet's website to do with the booth maker. Many possibilities without having to spend so much. All you need is, like you said, just internet, free. You don't have to use a headset. You can literally just be in desktop and still be able to, publish your work and show it to the masses.
Now, before we get you on out of here, I would assume I would call you Val. I've been calling you Valhalla this entire time. They like Val for short, I guess. Is that
Midnight's fine.
okay? Perfect.
Midnight people call me.
I know we have just a couple of minutes here before we get on our next guest, and
Of
we'll get
course.
you on out of here. Talk to us a little bit about your process of being an ambassador this year.
Oh man, like I mentioned before, is that I kind of did it as a like I signed myself up because I'm like, there's no way I could get into it. Um, but I had an amazing person, which by the way is their birthday today, Chado Sensei. He told me that he wanted me in when he saw my name in the all the signups. I was one of them, and what happened was that I was the last one added in, even though they already had hundreds of like people have signed up for and he wanted me in. So the experience is basically been getting to meet more people, having more eyes on you, getting to represent the brand and what you believe in, and with just amped up to 11. So it's basically like being a collab streamer, but just way more benefits with it, and you get a little bit more exposure. A little bit is an understatement because you see me in the hub of Boundless, which is the main place where you start, and then you go in, and then boom, there's all the ambassadors there, and you just get a lot more that you can work with within the staff, and it's just really really great. And it also just kind of shows to why you would come to VKet, what makes it so much fun, that you feel welcome to it, because we want to make people feel welcome in what they do. And if it's selling or just being like an exhibitor or just a visitor, whatever the case may be, you feel like you belong. And to be able to represent that is like an honor to me, going from the collab streamer to this. Yeah, is definitely something else.
See, at least around this time, once this VKet is over, then you have a little bit of a push to say, "Listen, we want VKet Real to be happening in Canada. We want we want it to be here on
Guys,
the East
we
Coast.
want it here. I want it so much here in Toronto, but I think if they were to do the West, it'll be in the most obvious place, which would either be California, Los Angeles, or which usually, because Anime Expo, biggest thing. And when you have VRChat, most people would consider VRChat like anime. A lot of people are wearing anime, so you think Los Angeles or in somewhere like New York. But if anything, I would love to see it here in Toronto.
See, it's a good thing that they
That's
have the
what I
winter
love
one
more
in
than
Japan, and if they were to have some sort of a summer one, get to some place that's a little bit warm, someplace that we can enjoy.
Yeah,
Maybe
just
go to
do
the
summer
beach
with
or
Los
something.
Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah, just have a summer in Los Angeles or Miami, and then for winter you can come to Toronto or Vancouver, and have that for like Canada, because Canada winter, it makes a lot of sense in that regard for at least
Sure.
the Western styles. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that's something I guess we're gonna have to kind of lean into, especially going into the next year, because I definitely want it over here. Traveling all over the place would be so
much.
bad. Anyway, before we get
Yeah,
out of
no, I hear
here,
ya.
Midnight,
Yes.
why don't you go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you, where you stream, and what we get to look forward to in the new year.
Yeah, sure. So, hello again, my guys. My name is Midnight in Valhalla. I am the owner of the Midnight Bar and VRChat. I'm also VKet Ambassador and Twitch Friday streamer. You can catch me on Monday and Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, where I am on Twitch. This actually tomorrow I will be with GS Genesis for his Press Your Luck event that he's doing for charity
Very
for
cool.
Starlight Children's Foundation, and I'll be a participant there. I do have my, of course, my YouTube, all my socials, and everything is through my link tree. If you ever meet me here in VKet or even at my bar, because I usually do my streams in my bars on Thursdays, depending on, and all my Twitch subscribers can actually join me on that as a way to, like how we're doing it, talk about topics and maybe like have a good time. And I have my mods who do bartending, and so much more. And yeah, you can catch me on Twitch, twitch.tv/midnights in Valhalla. And again,
Perfect.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure, and I'm looking forward to some more VKet stuff. Obviously, we're gonna be back here at the booth next Friday, so you're more than welcome to stop by, and maybe you'll find something cool this week and be like, oh, I gotta go talk to him about it on the show. So feel free to stop by then.
Yeah, I mean, next in 2 weeks I'll be having my anniversary as rebrand for Midnights in Valhalla, 4 years as a affiliate. So I'm
Hey,
looking forward to hanging out
perfect.
with people for it. 23rd Monday.
Awesome. So guys, again, we are live here at VKet, and we're in a live instance here. So feel free to come on by. We're gonna be here for about another hour, but stick around. We're gonna take a quick break as we're gonna be getting our next guest in from PJKT Communities, and obviously, yeah, we will Go to the bathroom real quick, get some hydration, come on back.